It says we're live. Let's see. Let's go test this and see if it's true. Oh, we already got a like. Hi. Thank you. Whoever liked this already. Hello, everyone. We're trying something new here. Hello to our new office space here in the Lake Chapala area in Mexico. And we're testing a live stream to see how this goes. Okay, great. Okay. All right. Awesome. It is working. Hi, everyone. Hello. I'm so excited to be doing this. We have so many exciting things going on here at Entrepreneur Expat that I had to jump on a live stream to tell you guys about it. And apologies because we scheduled the live stream for about 2 hours ago. However, we had people start coming into the office asking about immigration and real estate in the area. Shout out to Kristen and Chris who were just hanging out with us at the office. They came to see us in person here in the Lake Chapala area. So we got a little delayed. And in case you missed the announcement, we now have office space. It's still in process. It's still in the works, right? We just got a bunch of furniture that's right in front of me right now that we have to assemble. But it's coming along, and many of you have already come to visit us. Many of you saw the announcement on Instagram, or you've been emailing with us and we told you to come visit. And it's been really cool to meet you guys in person. So what we're going to be doing on this live stream today is I'm just going to start answering a lot of the questions that we've been getting about living in Mexico, making money abroad, what life is like in Mexico, and basically just answering all the questions that we get either in the YouTube comments or on Instagram or in our emails. We figured it was much easier to do this in a live stream format. And we also wanted a way to just interact with you guys in real time because we've never done that before. So in 2026, we're going to do that. It's part of the reason why we got the office space, and now we're going to be doing live streams so we can have more. That multi is going really fast. I don't know if you guys heard that. All right. What are you doing, my love?
I'm just going to turn your mic on. Oh, there you go.
The producer is here making sure I'm mic'd correctly. Thank you, Justin. Justin's actually here. You want to say hi?
Hello.
Yeah, he's working on some tech stuff right now because it's been absolutely insane. We just got the keys to the office space. We've been cleaning it out, getting it set up. Many of you have been coming to visit us in person. And today's like the first day where we've been able to be like, okay, let's get some tech administrative things done and go live and see what's up with everyone. So we're going to be answering a lot of your questions. If you're interested in this kind of content, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Amanda. I run this channel with my husband, Justin, who you guys just saw, the Entrepreneur Expat. And we're two Americans who moved to Mexico a few years ago. My husband, Justin's actually been in and out of the United States for about 10 years, and he's lived in multiple countries, but 6 years total in Mexico. And I'm coming up on 3 years in June. And we help a lot of people move to Mexico and get their visas and get their residencies and real estate. And we also manage property in the area. And we also talk a lot about entrepreneurship, international investment, and how to make money online so you can go anywhere in the world. So if those are things that you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single video or live stream that we have coming out on this channel. So let's get into it. Let's get started with some of the questions that we've had coming in. So the first thing the number one question we get asked, and this doesn't matter whether it's Mexico or any country, is how to make money when you're living abroad. By the way, shout out to those of you who have been recommending Entrepreneur Expat in all the Facebook groups for anytime anybody asks about remote income. We see you. We've been getting screenshots from a lot of our friends. So thank you for those of you who've been sharing this information. So here's the main thing, right? And I'll just explain like our process, and then I'll also explain what most of our immigration clients do, right? So our relocation clients, what most of them are doing. We understand that question number one is how are you going to sustain yourself in another country? Totally get it. We've been there too. In the case of Justin and I, we had already been running online businesses for over a decade each before we had ever even met. Justin ran marketing agencies. He's done tech consulting. I was a sales trainer, and I also taught a lot of marketing. And I would go into businesses and train the salespeople, and all of that was done online. The other thing that we did for a long time is I actually sold courses on different business things, for example. So that was another way that I made money online for a long time. Or my first business ever, I was actually a personal finance expert and educator, like John and David, who were clients of ours. You probably saw their interview on this channel. I did that for 8 years. It was all online. So Justin and I, before we had ever even met, had already decided 10 years prior to being in Mexico that we wanted to live in different countries. And we are of a generation, we're millennials, both of us, where that was just what you did. I mean, we came of age in 2008. It was absolutely crazy. There were no jobs anywhere. And a lot of millennials like us started being like, okay, well, how do we just make money online? How do we go to different parts of the world? I don't want to work for the man. So that was some of the logic there all the way in 2008. And to be honest, it's not dissimilar to what we see going on now with like Gen Z and how they're starting to think about money and making money. So we'd been making money online for a long, long time. That is how we qualified for the visas for Mexico. Because with the visas, we did it based on income. And we had remote income through our businesses, and we qualified very easily. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, because now you're probably like, oh, but you guys have physical office space. This is new. We've been online for 15 years, just in the different things that we've done. But in Mexico in particular, which is where we're spending most of our time now, there is so much opportunity. We're good. I thought somebody was walking in. We're getting one of our Airbnbs that we manage ready because it's just been like guest after guest after guest this week. So anyway, we're good. But now, right, we do a lot more in-person stuff once we're in Mexico. So we got the visa through remote income. That's what we did. And I'll talk about other ways that people get the visas. I just said many of the ways that we've made money online over the years. And if you're interested, if that's where you're at right now, where you're like, man, I need to make remote income just to qualify for a visa, and that's where you're at, then what I recommend is checking out our Freedom Bundle, which I will put in the chat right now, because that is going to help you get started. You will get our class on how to get your first high-paying client online. So it'll teach you the basics. Plus, you'll get our class on YouTube because YouTube is freaking life-changing. It's one of the best business things we've ever done. So we're very big fans of YouTube, and you can get both of them and some cool bonuses in the bundle. So if that's where you're at in your journey, I need to figure out how to make remote income. That's what I would highly recommend. It's gotten rave reviews. We'll actually be doing an interview with one of our students once things calm down. So I just put that in the chat for those of you who are interested in that. Okay, now we're already in Mexico. We got our visa. I'm coming up on 3 years here. And we started Entrepreneur Expat. Well, I hope you guys can hear me. We're trying to open up packages of furniture for the office. You guys caught us like, whatever, this is real life, right? Like this is the process of putting it all together, and you guys are seeing it. So we've been here a while. I get to Mexico. Justin was already here. He'd been doing the entrepreneur expat lifestyle for 10 years. He just never documented it on the internet. We get together and I'm like, why don't you just start documenting this on the internet? Do you know how many people like want to move to other countries? Like it's super interesting that you live in other countries. So we start the Entrepreneur Expat YouTube channel. We did a test in 2023. At the end of 2023, we did a test. Now, of course, we had spent a decade plus in online marketing. We understand keyword research. We understand systems. We understand business, which, by the way, if you are in Ajijic, the weekend of February 7th, we are speaking at an event, the Extranjero event. We're going to get all the Mexican YouTubers together, are coming to Ajijic, and our presentation is going to be on how to create a 6-figure education and consulting business off of YouTube. So if you're in Ajijic, some of the events for the Extranjero event are open to the public. So if you are in Ajijic on February 7th, we put it on the community page, but that's what we're going to be teaching on. So obviously, when we started Entrepreneur Expat, We built it from the beginning as if it would be a business. We didn't know if it was going to turn into a business, but we said if we're going to take all the ingredients out anyway, we might as well cook. That's the way that we saw it. So, and then YouTube changed our lives, right? So that went from teaching people how to run online businesses and make money online, which we still do, to now helping people with the visa process in Mexico. We also have contacts in other countries. To now we do property management in the Lake Chapala area because we had done deals with owners of properties in the Chapala area to put our relocation clients, house our relocation clients in their properties. When they were doing their visa process with us, so they wouldn't have to worry about where to live. And that's where they're going to stay while they're going to the immigration office. And that's one of the advantages of working with us is we just coordinate everything and you don't have to worry about jack. And that's what we decided to do when we created Entrepreneur Expat, because it's stressful enough trying to figure this stuff out on your own. And it's super stressful when you're working with immigration facilitators or lawyers or real estate people and you're trying to figure out how they all go together. So we very consciously decided that when we work with our clients, they're not going to have to worry about anything. They don't even know problems exist because we've already solved them. One of those problems that people were running into is like, oh, I'm doing my immigration process. Where am I going to stay? So because of that, we already had partnerships. I hope you guys can hear me. This traffic just got crazy on the highway. Give me a thumbs up or let me know in the chat if you can hear me. So because we already had partnerships with a lot of property owners in the Chapala area, and that's where we were housing relocation clients, then what ended up happening was the owners of those properties started telling us, hey, why don't you just put these properties on Airbnb or rent it out for me or do this? And then it turned into property management, right? So then that turned into on the ground income here in Mexico, which is one of the reasons why we just got the office space. And then it turned into selling real estate, right? So business lesson here, right? And this is for anybody who's interested in making money online, or if you want to make money in another country. This is Entrepreneur Expat. We don't do jobs, okay? Justin and I haven't had a regular job in 15 years, okay? There's nothing wrong with a job, and I will talk about how you can get visas if you have a job momentarily, but this is Entrepreneur Expat. We think like entrepreneurs and investors. It's what we do, and entrepreneurs and investors know how to make money no matter where they go. It's just a mindset thing. It's how we operate. It is what it is. But I will tell you some key lessons, right? Number one, you want to make sure that you're solving problems for people and then people pay you to solve those problems. And number two, and when you go to other countries and things like that, believe me, there are problems everywhere that can be solved and you can get paid for. But for most of you, if income requirement or the financial solvency requirement is the problem, start doing that online. What are things that you're knowledgeable about that people can give you money to solve that problem? That's all business is, right? And you can start that online. Perhaps you have 20, 30 years of experience in a certain industry, and then you can turn that into consulting online, and boom, you've got an online business. It's that simple, right? You just need to find problems to solve for people, and then people pay you to solve those problems. That's it. That's all it is. And then of course you learn marketing and sales and all that kind of stuff. And that's why for those of you who are there and trying to figure out the income, definitely check out the Entrepreneur Expat Freedom Bundle, which I put in the chat. But that's lesson number one. Just find problems to solve and people will pay you for solving problems. Number two, how do I put this in a way where it's like not too complicated? I'm trying to simplify this as much as possible. What we did with Entrepreneur Expat is that we have a life cycle of a business, right? So what's problem number one that people have? They need to figure out how to make money online so they can even qualify for visas. Boom, people just buy courses. We've done business consulting for a long time, so business comes to us that way. What's problem number two? Well, now you have the money, but you need to figure out the immigration process. Well, boom, that's a service that we offer too, and we get paid for that. So that's number two. What's the next problem? They need short-term housing while they either get their immigration process done or they're like feeling places out and they don't know where they want to buy it. Boom, we manage properties. So we solve that problem. And then what's the problem after that? Real estate, because then they want to buy. Boom, just solved another problem. So what that is called, for those of you who are learning how to make money, is the life cycle of a client. And that is also how you increase the customer value, right? I'm dropping business gems, okay? And for those of you who pick up what I'm putting down, you'll make money for the rest of your life if you understand what I just said. Okay. And again, for those of you who are in Ajijic, February 7th, those are YouTubers who are coming into town for the Mextranjero event. This is what Justin and I are going to be teaching on at that event for the YouTubers. And those of you who are in the Lake Chapala area, we're still figuring out if we're going to do like business trainings in the office. Like we're still figuring out where everything goes. So we're not quite there yet. Just make sure to subscribe, follow us on Instagram, sign up for the email list, and we'll let you guys know, right? So that's how we took our online business skills. The online income is how we got the visa, right? And then we used a lot of those business smarts to start making money on the ground in Mexico. So for those of you who are constantly asking about how you make money abroad and make money in other countries, whether you have a job or not, what I recommend for you is to start thinking like a business person or start thinking like an investor. Even if you don't have a business yet, even if you don't have a ton of investments yet, it all starts in between your two ears. When you start thinking in that way and start learning how entrepreneurs move, or you start learning how investors move, and then you apply those principles, you're never going to worry about money. You'll always find a way to make money no matter where you are, period. And it's a mindset. It starts in between your two ears. Let me know in the chat or in the comments later or in emails if you guys want us to go deeper into those kinds of topics, because how to make money online and how to make money from other countries is like question number one that we get asked all the time. Okay, so now let's start going into visas, right? Because I mentioned that we got our visa through income, through financial solvency, through our online businesses. A lot of the clients that we work with, right, also have 6 and 7 figure online businesses, right? So they very easily qualify for the visas, especially as Mexico just keeps getting like higher and higher and higher in terms of their requirements. That being said, right, not all of our clients run businesses. A lot of our clients just had regular jobs their whole lives, 20, 30, 40 years, and they put money in their 401ks or they invested very well. And most of our clients are like close to $1 million. We've had clients with net worth all the way to $10 million, right? So a lot of those people just invested well, okay? And this is another lesson for those of you who keep asking about how to make the money abroad and how to make the money online. There's 2 ways to make a lot of money. Either you start your own business or you become a really good investor. That's basically it. Those are your 2 options in life in terms of making enough money where like visas and all that kind of stuff are never really a problem. And the goal is to give yourself freedom, and money is obviously a part of that equation. That being said, like I said, many of our clients for the relocation services, for the visa, all that kind of stuff, they never had their own businesses, but they were very good investors. So they had the investor mindset, and then they do it through financial solvency, right? And Mexico is one of those countries, they want people with money. It is what it is. And in most countries around the world, they want to know that it's a business transaction. And that's what a lot of people don't, even in the United States, to a degree, immigration is a business transaction. Immigration is a business transaction most of the time. So if you're going to another country, they want to know that you have enough money to not be a burden on their systems. So that's why you see a lot of these requirements and qualifications and all that stuff going up all over the world. Mexico's not the only one. We've seen several countries doing it. They want to make sure that whatever foreigner is coming in isn't going to be a burden on whatever systems that they have. It's a business transaction. The other thing Mexico wants is people who are going to stimulate their economy. So that's they're going to spend the money and stimulate it here. So that's one of the reasons that you see it going up. And there's some other reasons why they keep getting stricter on immigration as well, but that's neither here nor there for this crowd. Another way to get a visa in Mexico is through real estate. if you look online, they'll say it's like $500,000 in a real estate property, and you own it free and clear, and you can in Mexico, and you can get a visa that way. Well, some of our lawyers have told us maybe we can get it done for a property as low as $300,000. And then another way to get a visa in Mexico is either you start a company or you invest in a company in Mexico. And we do have more of those requests coming in right now. We've got some clients from Latvia, and that's what they want to do. They want to start a business here in Mexico, and that would be a visa via starting a business or starting a company in Mexico. They're in hospitality in Latvia, and they want to do hospitality in Mexico. So those are basically your options. And it kind of is what it is, because at the end of the day, countries need to know that whoever's coming into their countries are going to stimulate the economy and aren't going to be a burden on their systems and are actually like investing in the country. And a lot of times that includes financially investing in the country. But that's basically where Mexico stands right now. And then obviously, you know, if you're married to a Mexican or you had a Mexican parent, then obviously for you, you can skip the whole financial solvency and investing and all that stuff, right? And just get it through your spouse or through a parent, right? So that's another way of doing it as well. You could also have a baby in Mexico, and they'll give you they'll fast track your permanent residency, which would then fast track your citizenship. So, hey, I've actually had friends in Puerto Rico who left the United States, went to Puerto Rico. Oh, there's a tractor coming in. Hold on. Small town life, y'all. We've had horses come through here, a tractor come through here. We've had everything come through the plaza today. Okay, hopefully you guys can hear me. A tractor was just coming into the parking lot. And then, so obviously you could have a baby, and then it'll fast track your path to permanent residency. And then also citizenship. I have had child-bearing year friends ask me about, can't I just have a baby in Mexico? Yes, you can. And it can fast track it. And then Mexico, like most countries, also has citizenship programs for spectacular, stellar people who have some sort of crazy talent or did something amazing for the country. That's usually for Olympic athletes or stuff like that. You'll see that happening a lot. So that's kind of the visa situation. We did get a question today from people walking in. Hold on a second. My love, do I sound good, or is there a lot of background noise from all the...
You have voice isolation.
So we're good. All the stuff from the stores and stuff isn't coming out. All right. The producer is going to check to make sure audio is good for all of you, because there's a lot of ruckus happening right here in the plaza where we have our office right now. We also got asked this great question today, which was, some people have come to us. We've had several clients in this situation, actually, because of the situation in the United States right now, which is interesting, for lack of a better term. It's interesting. Let's just leave it at that. Who are like, hey, this stuff is pushing us over the edge, right? And a lot of people are also in a situation, right, where, for example, a lot of people are getting laid off from their jobs right now. We've had several clients who either got laid off from their job. These are people in their 50s and 60s, right? They either got laid off from their job, or Trump got elected. We've actually had clients who had certain businesses, and then with the political situation in the United States right now, they've lost a lot of business, right? So that's been a situation that's going on. So there are some of you who are in a situation, and I'm speaking to you guys directly because we've had this question come in a lot, who are in a situation where right now, perhaps you do not have employment or your business is slower. And at the same time, you have more than enough money. I don't know why I just almost knocked my glasses off from excitement. You have more than enough money in your investment and savings accounts to qualify for a visa, right? To Mexico, to qualify for your temporary residency. If that is you, and this is what we told some people today who asked us about this, and they're considering working with us to get this process started. And we've had clients who've been in this very situation that I'm mentioning right now. If that is you, there are ways that you can tap into your investment accounts and your retirement accounts, which we've talked about on this channel before, where you're not going to be penalized, right? you can use that money to start the immigration process and start your move to Mexico. And if you have questions about that, send us an email, because obviously it depends on the person, but we've talked about it. If you look at our interview with our clients, John and David of Queer Money and Debt Free Guys, they'll be in Ajijic next week for the event as well. That's what they did. They found a way to tap into their retirement accounts where they had, I mean, they said it publicly, they had 1.2 million. It was public. They tapped into those retirement accounts, penalty free, and then they were able to use that money to pay us, right, to do the process for them, which went so well. They only had to use 20 hours. Huh?
Not legal or financial.
Oh, yeah. Justin says this is not legal or financial advice. It's not, right? We're just telling you what other clients have done. And we do have accountants and all that stuff that we work with that can help you figure out your specific situation. So don't be like, hey, Amanda and Justin told me to go do this thing. No, come talk to us and we'll look at your situation, and we'll talk to the accountants and the financial planners and we'll figure it out, right? But we do have clients who have done this where they have found ways, right? Oh, thank you. Oh, it's Olga. Your mom is on. Hi, Olga. My mother-in-law is on. Hi. Thank you. We have clients who've done that, right? Well, they will find a way to take money from the investment accounts, because some of you are like, I'm ready to go now, but all my money is tied up in retirement accounts and the penalties and this. There are ways that you can access that money penalty-free, okay? There are ways to do it. If you're interested in it, please send us an email. We will look at your situation, right, and see what we can do. But we've had clients do that, and we've talked about it on this channel. Check out the interview with John and David, some of our relocation clients, because they have a background in finance and they talked specifically about what they did. Some of you, right, because you are no longer employed or your business has slowed down, now have all the time in the world to go to whatever consulate you need to go to, start the process in the United States, then come to Mexico, do that little back and forth thing you got to do for a while. And at the same time, have enough money sitting in investment accounts where you could easily qualify for a visa. If that is you, right? If that is you, here's our recommendation, because we get a lot of you who come to us and ask this question. By the way, if you like this, please make sure to give this a like. It helps us get it in front of more people, and share it out if this is useful. If that is you, we recommend just moving. Not moving to Mexico, but I mean like moving on the process, right? Because when else in your life are you going to have enough money to do what you need to do, which is sitting in your investment or retirement accounts or whatever? If you're from the United States, there are ways to tap into that penalty-free. Canadians, we're going to have to look into it with the Canadian accountants and all that stuff, right? But there are ways to tap into it. And number 3, you now have the time, because you just, are now laid off or your business slowed down or whatever, to do whatever it is that you need to do to fly to this consulate, do that thing over there, do this thing over here, and then just get the process done. We have a lot of people come to us who are in what they call pre-retirement, right? A lot of our clients have been pre-retirement. And basically what that means is they're in their 50s, sometimes 60s, and they're like, we're not ready to move now, but we're going to do the residency process for Mexico now to have it in our back pocket and have some peace of mind so we don't have to worry about it later. Those are usually the smart people, right? Smart people move as soon as they can. As soon as they can, they will work out the numbers and they will get it done. That's what they do. That's a very entrepreneur expat mindset, right? Because a part of being an entrepreneur expat is just having the mindset of, money can figure itself out, finances can figure themselves out, investments can figure themselves out, and if there's an opportunity, I'm going to take it. Like this office, the opportunity presented itself, we took it, and it's already brought in a lot of business in a very short amount of time. Was there a risk involved? Yeah, but there's a risk involved in everything. There's also a risk involved in not doing things, so you have to take that into account as well. Okay, so those of you who are like, I have the money, I have the time, just do it. And I'm going to tell you something. Justin and I were traveling for about a month. We came back to Mexico a couple weeks ago. We flew in through Mexico City. In Mexico City, they gave us the 3rd degree of how we got our residency. That had never happened to us before. And Justin's been in Mexico a total of 6 years. They're like, how did you get the residency? How did you qualify? And by the way, we're bilingual, so we were speaking to the agents in Spanish, right? Mexico City is getting serious. It seems to be happening because we present our card like, hey, we have our temporary residency. We're speaking to them in Spanish, and they're giving us the third degree, asking us how we qualified for the residency. So Mexico is cracking down. That literally just happened to us 2 weeks ago, right? So if you are in a financial position and if you are in a time position to get it done, and you know that you either want a plan B, because the United States is a little nuts right now, and Canada and Europe and all that stuff. You want a plan B, or you're pre-retirement and you know you're going to Mexico and you just don't want to worry about the immigration later. For those of you who've been asking about that, just get it done, because immigration is constantly changing and we have no control over it whatsoever. Okay, next question. Covered that. Okay, next question we've been getting is why we chose the Jocotepec area, right, for living, and now we have office space in the Jocotepec area, which, by the way, if you want to visit us in person, I'm going to drop the pin. Visit us in person. If you're in the Lake Chapala area or you're passing through here, we've had many of you come visit us in person already. I am dropping the pin in the chat for those of you who want to do that and come say hi, get your questions answered, hang out, have a coffee or a tea or something, some water. Next question we've been getting asked is why we chose more west of the lake rather than Ajijic or Chapala. The answer to that is the opportunity just kind of presented itself and we took it. That's the honest to God truth, right? If you guys heard our story of how we moved out here from Guadalajara, it wasn't planned. We like Guadalajara. We still recommend Guadalajara for those of you who want a city in Mexico. We enjoyed our time in Guadalajara. We had no intentions of moving. And then our landlady decided to sell the house and we had to move very quickly. And within 48 hours, we found the place that we're in now on Lake Chapala, which is closer to Jocotepec. And it all just worked out and it happened and we seized the day. Carpe diem. That's what we do around here. We work online mostly. We could go wherever we want. We're like, hey, why not? Let's go check it out. We didn't even know if we were going to like it. Now, once we've spent more time here and we see a lot of the growth and expansion and development going on in the Lake Chapala area, especially moving westward, that's when Justin's entrepreneur and investor brain started going ding, 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 ding. We're going to be here for a while. So I'll give you an example. Our joke is no one else fits in Ajijic. So the expansion is moving westward because ahí no caben la gente, right? But as you head more west, right? Thank you for joining us, by the way. If you want to but I forgot to mention this. If you have any questions that we can answer live, put them in the chat. Right now, I'm just going through a list of all the questions that have been showing up on our Instagram and on the YouTube comments and in our email or from walk-ins that we're getting in the office. But if you have any that you want me to answer right now, you're more than welcome to drop it in the chat. I forgot to mention that part. Let's let this be interactive. So when we started seeing the growth, right, more west of the lake, that's when we were like, oh, we're going to be here for a while, right? So let me give you an example, as I said. We've run into real estate investors from both the United States and also Mexican real estate investors in this area, and they all are in agreement that the west side of the lake, so like San Juan Cosala, El Chante, Jocotepec, it's ripe for blowing up as people move westward from Ajijic. You can find better real estate deals for those of you who are investors. Like if you just want to buy a house to live in for the rest of your life, then do whatever works for you, right? But if you're looking at an investment opportunity, it's definitely over on this side of the lake and even around the bend. We have it on pretty good authority. Here's what's happening. They just redid all the roads in Jocotepec. They just opened a store that's owned by Walmart, and they've approved storage units. And we have it on very good authority because the guy who owns the space that we're in right now is friends with the guy in the county responsible for all the roads and stuff like that in this area. They're redoing all the roads. When you start seeing stuff like that and you start seeing a Walmart start coming in and you start seeing the little boutique coffee shops and restaurants start popping up, man, real estate investors go ding, 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 ding. That's where I'm going to put a footprint right now and I'm going to get in. Because if Walmart just opened up another space going into Jocotepec, you know how much money they spent to determine whether or not that was a good space. And you know that they're getting in early to get the land or the lease or whatever as cheap as they can as this place starts to grow, and then they're already set up and put in position. Is it harder to get your residency card in Mexico today? Someone asked me this. We were recently on a cruise going to the Bahamas, and someone asked me that same question, and I'm going to ask for a clarification question, but I'm also going to say something kind of tongue in cheek. If you have enough money, nothing's hard. Mexico kind of operates that way, right? Like you still do the bureaucracy, but if you have more than enough money, then it's not an issue. It's a very streamlined process. Now, do you mean, that's my tongue-in-cheek joke. Is it hard? Do you mean like you're already in Mexico and you're getting the exchange for the residency card, or do you mean just getting the residency period? Like what exactly do you mean? That's where I would have like a question mark for you in that area. Because I don't know if you mean like the actual residency, like getting the temporary residency, or the process of actually coming here and getting the canje exchanged for a card. Like I'm not sure exactly which point you're talking to, so I just want clarification. But my tongue-in-cheek answer is if you have enough money, nothing's a problem. Which is why I did that whole diatribe in the beginning talking about the entrepreneur expat mindset. So from tourist to legal, the Mexico, although it has a lot of bureaucracy, famous for its bureaucracy, or infamous, I should say. The joke is this is a joke from our Mexican friends. Mexicans love to push paper. That's the joke. The process is in comparison to a lot of other countries is very straightforward, right? You get the consulate appointment in the United States, right? And this is why people hire us to do this for them, because we just handle all of it and you just show up to the appointments and that's all you have to worry about. Everything else we've handled. The 15 effing pages of paperwork, the house, like everything. We handle it for you. We have it streamlined to a point where when our clients land in Mexico, so they land in Guadalajara to exchange their visa in their passport for the physical card, the immigration facilitator that we work with in Chapala can already start the process. She can already start the trámite. How do you say trámite in English? I forgot. The file? Like, I forgot how to say trámite in English. Like, we have it streamlined to that process. The paperwork process to exchange the visa for the physical card. Like, that's how streamlined we have it. So I'm going to give you a few answers to this question, right? The process for Mexico is straightforward, right? If you have enough money, they will give you a visa, right? What's not straightforward is just like the bureaucracy, and, there's no uniform system for the consulates, and, one person will tell you one thing. I think we qualify financially. I'm a U.S. citizen. My wife is also Mexican citizen. Is it better to go for temp visa first or permanent? We spend time in Mexico often and are looking to make a permanent move. Well, if you're married to a Mexican, you can just get citizenship through your wife. That's what I would do. Right. I think I said it in the beginning. Financial solvency is the way that most people do it. But if you're married to a Mexican or you have a Mexican parent, just do it through them. It's less complicated of a process than having to do like the whole financial solvency thing. So I hope that answered your question. That's what I would do. Right. Like Justin and I, neither of us were Mexican. Neither of us have parents here. And a lot of people ask us that too. They're like, how did you guys start businesses in a country that you have no connection to and weren't born in? And we're like, we're entrepreneurs. It's just what we do. Like, we find problems, we solve the problems, and we get paid for them. Like, that's what you do. It's just how your brain works. So back to Tucson Azul. Great question, right? So the process is straightforward, especially in comparison to a lot of other countries, to go from tourist to legal. The problem is there's no uniform system. There's a lot of bureaucracy, all that kind of stuff, right? We are moving in July, but I still have to establish a location-independent source of income. What do you recommend? Personal finance is my jam. Thanks. Oh, yay. First of all, I love your name, Black Women Build Wealth. Love it, love it, love it. I spent 8 years in personal finance. I don't know if you saw that part. That's actually one of the ways that I made money online. for 8 years was I was a personal finance educator. I had a blog. I would get hired by credit card companies when they needed an influencer to go on the media for them. So if you're into personal finance, that's definitely one of the things that you can do. I did it for 8 years, right? You can email me and I can put you in a better direction with that. If you have any specific questions about that, because I do have specific experience with personal finance. But what I recommend off the bat, right, is if you go to our the chat, let me pin it. For those of you who are asking about remote income, for those of you who are asking about remote income, the best place to get started is with our Freedom Bundle, entrepreneurexpat.com/bundle. You're going to get 2 courses and a bunch of bonuses. So number 1 is our Get Your First High Paying Client Online Bootcamp, right? And it's going to walk you through the basics of what you need to know, how to put an offer together, marketing, sales, and how to get that money coming in, right? The second program that you get with that is our YouTube Mastery Workshop, because this YouTube channel created Entrepreneur Expat into a 6-figure business in 6 months. YouTube is I've been in online business for 15 years. YouTube 1000% is my all-time absolute favorite marketing tool of all time. Like, we already had our online systems already going thanks to YouTube, and then we just added the physical location. And it's just been like, whew. It's just been wild. It was just like adding gasoline to the fire, but the fire was started by YouTube, right? So highly, highly recommend YouTube. So Black Women Build Wealth, I pinned it to the top. I highly recommend that. We've had several people do that. One of our clients who just did that, they are in the medical space. And in a couple of months, their YouTube channel got to 5,000 subscribers, and they're booking like coaching clients at $5,000 a pop. They'll probably make 6 figures this year. And they did both of those. So I highly, we're going to interview them for this channel. So I highly, highly recommend checking that out for those of you who are asking about that. Okay, back to the visa, right? This is the problem with me doing live streams, is I'm far more ADD than Justin is when it comes to live streams. I'll have him coming on eventually for the live stream. So residency process for Mexico, going from tourist to residency card, straightforward and easy insofar as it's not as complicated as other countries, and as long as you have enough money, they'll give it to you. Okay, in that sense, straightforward and easy. Not straightforward and easy because the consulates don't have a uniform system. You don't know who to trust. One consulate tells you one thing, another consulate tells you another thing. Even when Justin and I were doing it, we did it a year apart. And we went to the same consulate and they asked me for a different piece of paperwork than they asked him for, right? Part of the reason why is because the joke is that Mexico loves to push paper. It's the bureaucracy. So in that sense, it's more complicated. And in that sense, that's where services like ours come in handy, because we're the ones who've already built the teams that have contacts in the consulates. We know which consulate will be most likely to approve you, so on and so forth. The other thing about the consulates that's not necessarily easy is that the consulate that's closest to you is not necessarily the one that will approve you based on your situation. So what we do for our clients is we don't just push paper, we will create an actual strategy. Sometimes, right, our clients are, for example, we've got some clients now from Latvia and they're going to start a business. They're creating a corporation in Mexico. That's how they're getting their visa. That's a whole different strategy than, for example, somebody who's buying a piece of real estate versus somebody who's doing it through a spouse or a parent versus somebody who's doing it based on income, right? So we just create the whole strategy. And we know, based on your specific situation, we know which consulate to send you to. And that's one of the benefits of working with us. We are not the cheapest on the market. We are not a $200 immigration facilitator. We are top of the market. But the reason why we are top of the market is because you literally don't even know that problems exist. You don't know they exist. You just don't, right? Because we've already handled all of it for you. And we handle all of that stuff and get it off your plate, which, by the way, for those of you asking about how to make money online or how to start businesses, what did I say in the beginning of the chat? Solve a complicated problem that people pay a lot of money for, and boom, you've got a business and you've got money. It's not any more complicated than that. It really is that simple. I can tell you, as a former financial educator and also being in entrepreneurship for 15 years, and Justin can tell you the same thing, most people way overcomplicate this stuff because we have some very unhelpful stories about money, how hard it is to make money, how does this work? It's scarce, it's not an unlimited resource. Money's everywhere. And if you know how to solve problems, you can get paid for solving those problems, and money will never be an issue for you. Okay, so Tucson Azul, I hope that answered your question. What I also will tell you is that Mexico is cracking down. So obviously Mexico has like the highest income requirement of all of Latin America. But also Mexico doesn't have any physical stay requirements. So that's another question we got at the office today from a walk-in, which is like, hey, can I get if I get the residency, like how much time do I need to spend in Mexico? And we're like 0. Right? So that's one of the benefits, right? So yes, it's high up on the income that they're requiring in comparison to the rest of Latin America, but you also don't have to be here, right? So it's what's called a paper residency. The only at this point in time, and this is why we're spending more time here because we're coming up on this. At this point in time, the only time that you have to physically be in Mexico is when you want to get the passport. And you only have to be here 6 months out of like 2 years in order to be able to qualify. So that's why we're actually just staying put for a little while, getting the passport. And then once we've got the passport, then we'll start diversifying even more. We're also getting the office up and running. So once we've got like real estate agents or people working here for us, then we don't have to physically, be here anymore. And we can go back to our travels. So in that sense, right, Mexico is cool because it's one of the only countries in the world that allows you to do that. Actually have a residency, a legal right to live here, and not actually have to be here in order to keep the residency. Most people, unless you're like of retirement age and actually retired, they're going to make you do the temporary residency first. This is new rules. And then from there, you come back to Mexico and renew it. That process is super easy. You just literally show up to the immigration office and pay your fee and fill out some paperwork, and it's done. But again, the bureaucracy is famous here. They love to push their paper, right? Which is why it's important to work with people like us in order to help you avoid a lot of the frustration and headache that comes with a lot of that. And then, so basically, like you get approved for 4 years on the temporary. You get it for a year. You come back to Mexico. You renew it for another 3. Then you can get permanent. After 5 years, you can get citizenship if you want to, so on and so forth. So easy, I don't know if easy is the right word for Mexico. Straightforward is the right word for Mexico. It is straightforward. If you have the money, they will give you a visa. In that sense, it is straightforward. It is not straightforward in terms of the bureaucracy. It is not easy in terms of the bureaucracy. And it's not easy and it's only going to get harder. Like we've been telling you guys forever and ever and ever. If you have the means, if you qualify, if you have the time, get it done. Just get it done because they keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter with the restrictions. And they're just cracking down on immigration in general in Mexico. Okay, what other questions have we gotten? I did not plan this at all, by the way. We're just hanging out in the office today, and I decided to come on a live stream to test it, see how it goes, because we've never done it, because it's something that we think we want to start doing more and more of in the future. Now I don't know if you guys can see it, but no, you can't see it. Let me see if I can do one of these. Back there, it's not fully set up yet, but you can see like a couch or two, and then you can see our camera equipment over there. We're getting like a little filming recording space set up, so we just have it set up for good, and then we can go live and we can film more easily and we can answer more of your questions and stuff like that. So we're just basically testing the internet in the office today is what I'm doing. Okay, so the other question I've gotten asked a lot in the comment section is differences between US and Mexico. And for those of you who are hopping in, if you have any questions you want me to answer live, pop them in the chat. And if I can answer it, I will. And if not, then I will direct you to the appropriate location. So here are some differences between the US and Mexico. And we say this, I'm coming up on 3 years, right? So I think my perspective is interesting because I'm still probably in what someone would consider that transition period. The first 1 or 2 years is definitely a transition. And I'm Latina, I'm Cuban, and it still felt like a huge transition from the United States. And I had the advantage of already speaking Spanish and already understanding Latin culture. Like Cuban and Mexican are they're not the same. I don't think anything's like Mexican, if I'm being honest. So I had those advantages and it still felt like a huge adjustment. So I think this will be very, very helpful to those of you who've been asking about it. Will I adjust easily? One of the questions we get asked a lot is what the adjustment period is like and whether or not it's simple and straightforward, how long it will take you to adjust, so on and so forth. So hopefully this helps, right? So here are some of the differences between the US and Mexico. Number one, your entire life doesn't revolve around hustling and production. So in Mexico, it's definitely a lot more relaxed pace of life. It's definitely a lot more social. It's a lot more relational. It has its pros and its cons. Just being honest, right? If you're coming with the American mindset of I'm just going to pay somebody to solve all my problems and just take my money and solve it quickly, not a thing here. I tell you what will solve your problems quickly, though. I'll get to that, but it's not money, right? In the United States and Canada, we're like, just take my money and solve the problem. Not a thing here at all. So it can be frustrating in that sense, right? And, you know, like I said, Mexico loves to push paper. It likes its bureaucracy. So that would be an issue where things are also slower. For example, like we've got some work going on in the office right now. We just had some furniture delivered. We're getting some work done. Like we're getting a kitchenette set up over there. And once it's like open, like once it's ready for the public, we'll do like an event for those of you who are in the Chapala area. But right now we've just been getting a lot of walk-ins and we're loving meeting you guys in person. We're just still in process of getting everything set up. So obviously we've been dealing with contractors, right? And I feel like this is just universal with contractors all over the world. But in Mexico, I mean, they'll tell you like mañana, right? I think this is pretty famous. Most people know this, right? You'll talk to a contractor and you'll be like, hey, I need this work done in the office. Like this is why we've been living at the office the last 2 weeks, because this has been our life. What I'm telling you right now, hey, we need to get a cotizar. We need to get a quote for this project, or we need this thing done. We need a quote. And you're calling like a contractor, right? And then the contractor will tell you, oh, we'll be there mañana. Mañana literally means tomorrow. In Mexico, it could mean anytime in the indefinite future. We have no idea. Ahorita is another one of those, right? So ahorita literally means right this very second, right? When a Latin person says ahorita, it could mean, well, if a Cuban says it, it means it's in a little while, right? I'm Cuban. If a Mexican says it, it's like, I'll do it when I have time. Maybe I'll get around to this if I'm able to. And one thing that would happen to us in Guadalajara is we would need like a contractor to come fix something in the house or something, and they would be like, mañana, right? And then we wouldn't hear from them. They wouldn't show up, and nothing would happen. 3 weeks later, we'll get a phone call from the same contractor, and it'll be like, I'm on the way to your house to go fix the problem. We're like, what are you talking about? Like, the problem's already been fixed. We had to go find another contractor, right? And now that we manage properties, obviously we're dealing with a lot more of that with the contractors and things like that. So yeah, it is just a slower pace of life. The almighty dollar is not the number one thing. But what I will tell you, and this is an important lesson again for those of you who are asking about money and how to make money and making money abroad and business, what I will tell you is business is still business, even in more relaxed countries like Mexico. Let me give you an example. Let me take a sip of water. It's literally just happened last week. So someone reached out to us because they wanted us to either use their property in Chapala. So it's a house in Chapala, a really nice house. And they wanted us to go check out the house because they were interested in either having us host our relocation clients in their house while we do their immigration process in Chapala, or rent it out long-term, or put it on Airbnb like we do for a lot of our Mexican clients here, or just sell it, right? Just sell the property. Because like a lot of Mexicans in the Lake Chapala area, They either bought a house or built a house and fixed it up for their family to have it like a party or vacation home or like a weekend home when they want to escape the city, but none of them are ever here. Right? So now they're just frustrated that they have these properties that they still have to pay maintenance on, that they still have to pay gardeners for, that they still have to pay water for and electricity, and it's not making them any money. So now people like us come in and we manage those properties. And obviously we have networks of both Mexicans and foreigners. So everybody wins, everybody makes money, or people find their housing or whatever. So he tells us, right, and this is a serious dude. Like this dude worked pretty high up in a bank in Mexico. Serious dude. And one of the things that we've learned in the entrepreneur expat lifestyle is even if you are in more relaxed countries like Mexico, business is still business. And there are serious business people who are still like this, right? Justin just went, but they're still like this. And they're checking you up and down. And they're trying to see if you're reliable and what your character is. And if you do what you say you're going to do. And if you have integrity. And if you go above and beyond. It still exists, even in more relaxed countries. So this guy worked at a bank. He's one of those more serious guys. And we go to his house, right? We do the appointment. We go to his house. And we noticed that there was a for rent sign already outside of his house. So Justin, this was like literally last week. So Justin asks him, and he goes, I noticed that there's a for rent sign outside of your house. Are you already working with a real estate agent? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I had this real estate agent show up at my house, and I have no contract with her, and I'm actually really upset with her. And we're like, oh my God, what happened? Right? This whole conversation's in Spanish, by the way. We're like, oh my God, what happened? And he said, well, she was all gung-ho saying, I'll get this house sold or rented like immediately. I got somebody who wants to go see it. They want to go see it right now. And I said, and the Mexican said to the other real estate person, says, great, I'll be at my house on this day starting at 3:00 so you can bring that person over to come see my house. We're like, okay. And then he says to us, I haven't heard from them all day. I have no idea what's going on. I told you guys the same thing to manage my property or sell it, and you guys actually showed up. So guess who's getting his business? We're getting his business, right? And once we finalize everything and formalize it, it'll be ready on Airbnb soon for those of you who are looking for housing, and he's open to selling it, right? For those of you who are interested in that. We're getting the business, right? Why? Because we just did what we said we were going to do. And unfortunately, and granted, this happens all over the world, the bar is in hell for customer service, and that is in most countries. But when it comes to more relaxed countries like Mexico or Italy or Spain or Portugal, the bar is in like the 9th circle of hell for customer service. So if you are American or Canadian, and those again who ask about income and business and all that kind of stuff, and you move to another country, and you just bring your like American customer service skills or your American operational skills because we're just trained into it a different way, oh my God, you're going to blow up. I'll give you an example. In a lot of the properties that we manage for the Airbnbs and stuff, we will also have Mexicans who stay in those properties. We have people from all over the world who stay in those properties, and we'll get a lot of Mexicans. And we'll do the American thing. Right? So we'll be like, okay, if we screwed up on something, we'll give you something for free. Like I forgot what there was an issue with one time, and we basically brought them like a 6-pack of beer, right? Because that's what you do in the United States. Like if the business screws up, right, then the business takes ownership of that, and then you give them like a freebie or you give them something, right? In Mexico, that's not a thing, right? So the Americans will get frustrated at the total lack of customer service. In Mexico, I have heard Justin on the phone with the internet companies where he's like, oh, there's a problem with this. And they're like, maybe the problem is you, right? So it's right. So instead of taking ownership as the company being like, oh my God, we're so sorry. We'll send a technician over there. Like, like you would in the United States, right? We'll give you like a free gig or something. I don't know. They'll be like, no, sir, the problem is you, right? So it's definitely a difference. There's no effing customer service in Mexico. It's not a thing, right? However, for those of you looking for business opportunities, like I said, if you bring that's one of the good things about being American or Canadian. There's a toxic side to it too, which is the constant hustle culture and competition, right? But the good side of it is if you bring those customer service and operational skills to another country and you apply it to business, oh my God, you'll be like the top business in the place. Like that particular Airbnb, we got it to the top 5% of the entire Lake Chapala area in like a month, right? And it's just because we brought our American operational and customer service mindset, I suppose, to the business. We run it like a real business, in other words. So that would be an example for those of you who are asking about that. But yeah, customer service is not a thing. Not in the way that we are accustomed to, right? We just laugh at it at this point. But again, we use it to our advantage with our own businesses. And then the Mexicans are like floored and wowed because they're like, oh my God, you screwed up and you gave me something for free? Because that's just like not a thing here. Like people just, yeah, it's just not a thing here. So another thing about Mexico, right? And this goes to how to actually solve problems in Mexico. It's not necessarily money. With the visas, it is. If you've got money, they'll give you a visa. But everything else isn't necessarily solved with money. I'm going to tell you how it's solved. It's solved with relationships and networking. That's how you solve any problem in Mexico. You want to get something solved quickly in Mexico, it all comes to making friends with people, being very relational, and having networks, which is very different from the United States, which is if you want a problem solved, just pay somebody, right? So I'll give you some examples of how Mexico is a lot more relational than, for example, the United States or Canada. And Mexico is famous for this. It's actually one of my favorite things about Mexico, which is like, for example, like let's say this used to happen to me in Guadalajara. Let's say I have to go to the tailor, right? This should be a 5-minute errand to go to the tailor. It's not, it's 45 minutes. And the reason why it's 45 minutes is because you get into a whole conversation. How are you? How's your family? How are things going since the last time we chatted? Oh, you're having this issue in the business. Oh, let me see if I know so-and-so or whatever, right? Because a lot of Mexicans are very relational. And because they're very relational, they have huge networks of people. So what we tell a lot of Americans and things, and obviously if you speak Spanish like we do, then this is a lot easier. Make friends with Mexicans, right? Or if you don't speak Spanish, make friends with Mexicans who are bilingual, because they have such massive networks of people that can help you solve problems like this. I'll give you an example. About a year ago, we were putting our team together for Entrepreneur Expat, of the attorneys and the immigration facilitators and the accountants and all that kind of stuff, because we don't just like push paper. We actually come up with whole strategies. Like sometimes people come to us and they're like, hey, I've got a business in the United States. Like, what do I do about taxes if I'm living in another country? Like, we strategize everything. And we were putting this team together and I thought it was going to be super hard. And then I said, why don't I just ask my Mexican friends who they know? That's what I did. I'm like, we're looking for lawyers. We're looking for real estate people. We're looking for accountants. And I went to our Mexican friends and I said, can you help me out with this? Because we've got, this YouTube channel, it's blowing up, whatever. We had a whole team built in 6 weeks just from all the people that the Mexicans sent us. Right? That's how you get problem solved in Mexico, is by building relationships. Or for example, anytime when we found the place where we live now, it's because I did a post the other day because a lot of, speaking of Black women building wealth, if you're still here, you're going to find this very funny, what I'm about to say. So traditional personal finance advice in the United States is like, don't buy the lattes, right? Don't buy the lattes. Don't spend the money on the lattes. Make your own coffee, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to continue buying lattes for the rest of my life. Let me tell you why, right? Number one, the reason we found our house here with the amazing view of Lake Chapala is because we would go to a pastry shop in our neighborhood in Guadalajara. We knew the owner. We knew the whole owner's family. We would buy the lattes. We would buy pastries. We were there a couple of times a week. We made friends with everyone. Okay. When we were looking for a place to live, we were in the coffee shop. They heard us and they're like, we've got a place out on the lake. Do you want it? Boom. Like this. No guarantor, no aval, none of this stuff that they sometimes make. We don't deal with the normal problems that a lot of foreigners in Mexico deal with because we have so many Mexican friends. That's the secret. That's the secret to getting your problem solved quickly in Mexico. Or for example, this office space that we literally just got the keys like 2 weeks ago, and we've been trying to spruce it up. And we've had many of you come visit. Thank you. Let me tell you how that happened, right? There's a cafe in this plaza. There's a coffee shop. We would go there all the time. We would eat lunch there. We'd go eat breakfast there. We've taken immigration clients there, our relocation clients, we've taken them there. We cut a deal with the guy. We're like, hey, if they're staying at any of our Airbnbs here, can you give them like 10% off on the coffee? Stuff like that. We get to know the owner, so on and so forth, right? We're friends. We know the wife. We know the dog. We know the daughter. That's how you get things done in Mexico. And my husband started to notice in the plaza that we're in, and again, if you want to come visit us in person, if you're in the Lake Chapala area, I dropped the pin in the chat. We've had a lot of you come say hi, and it's been really fun, and get your questions answered and all that kind of stuff. So my husband, like when we moved here like 7 months ago, this area is growing so fast that like none of the businesses here were rented out. I think it was like the cafe and that was it. Within 6 months, there was one place left for rent for the office, and we got it. We got it as foreigners. Do you want to know why? Because we had made friends with the guy who runs the coffee shop, and it turns out that guy managed all the properties. So then he negotiated the deal with the owner of the place, and then he co-signed for us on the lease. So again, a lot of like the typical problems that a lot of Americans deal with in Mexico don't happen to us. And the reason why is because we've already learned the deal here. The deal here is that you don't necessarily solve problems with money, which is what most Americans think, right? In fact, a lot of times we've been like, just take my money, right? Just take my money, right? And it doesn't solve the problem. The problem gets solved via relationships. The problem gets solved with actually knowing people. The problem gets solved with being social. That's how you get shit done in Mexico. And it's also one of the advantages of working with us for your visa or your real estate and stuff, because we are bilingual and we have a massive network and we know how the game works here. Okay, next thing that's different. In Mexico, time is a human construct. But do not let it mess with your business affairs. When it comes to business, business is still business. In Mexico, if you want to make a lot of money, business is still business, right? But everything else, time is a human construct. We'll get invited to events. We're an hour late. Like we're and nobody's upset. Like it's just expected, right? Or we were getting our holistic healing certification stuff done, or we were going to meditation classes in Guadalajara. Everyone was always half an hour late. Like the thing never ever started on time, and we never left on time either, because time in Mexico is a human construct, right? Or they say, I'm en camino, I'm on the way, and Cubans do this too. I'm Cuban. I think all Latin people do this, right? I'm on the way. No, you're not. Maybe you just got in the shower, right? Maybe you just started putting your makeup on, but you still got to drop off your kid at grandma's house and then do this errand before you even get to my place, right? Or the restaurant or whatever, right? And again, I think Latins in general, we just typically do that. Another thing that's different, although I think this is good for any country, and this is just a good life philosophy in general, and this is one of the philosophies that Justin has for business, but I've also noticed it applies really well to life, right? Is just have backups for everything. In Mexico, we take that very literally. So here's what I mean by that. Now, Justin, for those of you who don't know, has like a software engineer tech background before he was doing all this stuff, and he applies a lot of that systems brain to all the businesses that we have, which is why they do so well and people pay us the big bucks, because they don't have to deal with a bunch of problems. But basically, it's like one. What is it, my love? One. It says your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. It's back. I think it's back. I think we're good. Let me double check. But basically in the IT space, it's like, what is it? One is none and two is one and none is one. I'm learning. He says I'm learning. So if you're in like the IT space or tech or anything like that, you've probably heard that, right? Two is one and one is none. What does that mean? You always need backups. You always need at least two backups. Good life philosophy in general, but in Mexico, we take it really literally, right? So here are some examples. Even with cleaning ladies, we have backups, right? Now, granted, now we're managing more properties, so we need more cleaning ladies, right? Instead of just like the one or two main ones, but we always have backups for everything. We have backups for cleaning ladies because something happens and one can't make it. Okay, great, call the other one, right? And it could be anything. It could be someone needs to go to the doctor. It could be I have an event. There's a party. I think we had one time who was just hungover. from partying the night before, right? So we just have backups, right? When it comes to the attorneys and the accountants that we work with for our relocation clients, we have several of them. And the reason why is because in Mexico, communication is not necessarily a strong, or like efficient. Let me put it this way. Efficiency is not a strong suit in Mexico. And sometimes when you're dealing with cases, you just need problem solved quickly, right? Or as quickly as humanly possible, right? So if one attorney can't do it, we've got another attorney. For example, 2 other attorneys, 3 other attorneys to help us with the process. Accountants, same thing. Or for example, with the electricity, we have a solar system that Justin built for by himself. He built it for about like $2,000 total. We have a video about it on the channel. We have way less problems with electricity here than we did in Guadalajara, in the Lake Chapala area. Same with internet, way less problems here than we had in Guadalajara. But you bet your bottom dollar, we still got some backups. We still got backups for that internet, and we still got backups for that electricity. It's just backup upon backup upon backup for everything. And granted, if you're in tech, if you run businesses, like you already know, you just need to have a bunch of backups for everything. General good life philosophy, it will be taken very literally when you are in Mexico. Obviously, the food, we're on 2 different planets when it comes to food. We were just in the United States visiting family, and we're like, this food tastes like nothing. It tastes like nothing. We're constantly bloated. We feel sick. It feels disgusting. It tastes in the US, right? In Mexico, as soon as we landed in Mexico City on our way back, I was like, please, someone help me go find some chilaquiles. Like, can we make that happen, please? And then we were eating the chilaquiles. I was like, oh my God, flavor. Flavor. Yes. So, obviously everybody knows food in Mexico is pretty top notch. And most people who've lived outside of the United States or have traveled outside of the United States know that the food in the US is not great. It's not even good. It's very mediocre, actually, and it's making you sick. Okay, I already mentioned this. There's lots of bureaucracy in Mexico. The joke is that Mexicans love to push paper. That's the joke. That's a joke our Mexican friends say. So like an example of that might be, like I went to go get my tax ID a couple years ago because I needed it for the bank account. Oh no, let's start with the bank account first. That was like a 2-day endeavor, getting a bank account. I probably signed like 15 pages of paperwork, probably signed our firstborn child away, future firstborn child away. I didn't even know it, right, to get a Mexican bank account. Then I had to do a video call with someone in Spain to verify my identity. And meanwhile, I'm here completely confused because I'm like, here's my ID and here is my face. Right? Like, why do we have to do a video call with someone in Spain if I am right in front of you and you can do what the video call person is doing? Right? So that would be an example, right? Or to go get granted, there's more fintech now in Mexico, so that's not as much of a problem anymore. That was like a more traditional bank here in Mexico. We've learned our lessons when it comes to that stuff, but that would be an example, or another example. And I say these things like in jest, right? Because right now I just find them all really funny. Once you get through all these things and you get used to it, life in Mexico is pretty great. For a lot of different reasons, but there's adjustment, right? There's a lot of adjustment in comparison to the United States or Canada. And then the other thing that happened was I needed to go get a tax ID in order to open up that bank account. And in order to get a tax ID, you go to the SAT office. SAT is the Mexican IRS, right? And then you have to go to like this booth, and then you go to a second booth to sign a paper, and then you go to a third booth to get like some sort of a flash drive, and then you go to a fourth booth, and then you're done. It's like, why are there so many booths? Why are there so many stations? Like, what are we doing, right? Right? So that's something that happens in Mexico a lot. Getting mail, forget it. Right? Just forget it. We use traveling mailbox. We've considered maybe using part of this office space to like receive mail for foreigners because it's such a thing, right? And then I'm wondering, and this is interesting about Mexico as well, that we've noticed, like big things like healthcare, easy peasy, right? Super efficient, works really well, no problem. Private healthcare, I should say, right? Super efficient, works well, no problem. Little things like getting a cell phone, you basically need to give up your firstborn child. Right? So that's one of the jokes that we have, right? That in Mexico, complicated things like healthcare are easy. Easy things, simple things like opening a bank account or getting a cell phone or paying your light bill are complicated and hard. Whereas in the United States, right, paying your bill or opening a bank account or getting a cell phone, all those things are easy, but then things like healthcare are hard. So it's trade-offs, right? It's just when you're making the decisions of which country to go to, right? And especially this is particularly about Mexico, it's just you have to be willing to see what kind of trade-off you want to do. And I will be honest, when we were just in the United States a few weeks ago, Justin got sick, right? I don't know, there was like a nasty flu going around Mexico, Canada, and the United States, and he got it, right? Knock on wood, I haven't gotten it yet, and I won't get it. He got sick, right? And without insurance for a fucking flu, right, it would have cost over $1,000 to like go to an urgent care, be seen, get treated, then get the medication that you need, and it's like a whole ordeal, like over $1,000 in the United States. In Mexico, we would have been in and out of the pharmacy with like a doctor would have seen him, the medications would have been done, maybe we're out $30, including the medications. So again, right, Mexico is one of those places where like hard things like healthcare are easy, right? But simple things like getting a bank account is hard. And in the United States is reversed. So you just have to, again, you have to know what kind of trade-off that you want. And another trade-off is, there's a lack of efficiency in comparison to the United States and Canada, and you can't just solve all your problems with money, right? Here, it really is a lot about really building relationships and building networks, and that's how you get problems solved very quickly in Mexico. It's not with your money, it's with who you know. That's how you get it solved fast. So that is a difference. I'm Latina. I personally like that. I think in the United States, things have gotten just very impersonal. Like you smile at someone in an elevator and they look at you like you have 3 snakes coming out of your head, right? And here it's normal, or like they're on their phone like this all the time. I guess with younger Mexicans, that's happening too, like this all the time, right? Here, you actually get to know people. Here, it's a lot more community oriented. I personally like that. About Mexico, I think a lot of people really like that about Mexico. Like you go to the restaurants and it's like Cheers, where everybody knows your name, like that. That's Mexico, right? Just think of like the Cheers theme song. I personally like that. Relationships are a lot deeper. You will make friends for life here, especially if you're like in business and stuff like that, and y'all are making money together and you're in business, friends for life. That's kind of how it is here. Like the relationships are a lot deeper. And that's a huge difference between like doing business, for example, in the United States versus doing it here in Mexico. In the United States, and we've had online businesses for a long time. It's very transactional. It's very surface level. It's very competitive. It's very like, is this person trying to F me, right? Like, it's kind of like that, right? In Mexico, it's a lot more about like the deeper relationships, like who do you actually know? And another difference is that in the United States, they like to do a lot of things in Mexico, they like to do a lot of things in person. So for example, this used to drive us nuts, but now we understand it. Now that we have like a storefront and we do more like on the ground stuff and we're managing properties, now we get it. We understand, but it used to drive us crazy. Especially as two, young entrepreneurs who were used to doing everything online, this particular thing was an adjustment. Now we kind of like it. And that was that Mexicans love to do things in person, right? So instead of doing an online class, no, you got to go do it in person, right? Instead of doing, or like an event or something, you got to go do it in person. If you want to go do business with someone, like forget a Zoom call. You have to actually like physically go to the office to make sure that this person exists and their office exists. Like that's the mentality in Mexico. Like they want to know that they're really, I don't know, it's kind of more old school in that way, right? Where it's more about like who you know, like is this person legit? I'm feeling them out. Like it's more old school in that way. The other thing that's more old school in Mexico is that this is a very polite culture. I don't think this is Latinos in general because I am Cuban. I was around Cubans my whole life. I've been around Venezuelans. I've been around Dominicans. I've been around Puerto Ricans. So I think with the Caribbean Latins, what I'm about to say does not apply, but it definitely applies in Mexico, which is the communication here is very indirect. Not everybody, right? But for the most part, the communication is very indirect, because it is seen that if you are direct with someone, it's rude, right? So it's a very polite culture. It's very old school in that way. I will give an example. You make a request of someone. It could be a contractor. It could be your neighbor. I mean, never really happened with our neighbors, right? It's happened more with like contractors and businesses and things like that, where it's like you make a request of them and they're like, hey, can you do X, Y, and Z? And they're like, yeah, I could totally do that. No, they can't. They can't do it. They don't want to do it, right? They just don't want to tell you no. And then it turns into a whole rigmarole later because they didn't just tell you no from the beginning. Now, as an American or a Canadian, that'll drive you nuts. Until you get used to it, because we are accustomed to a lot more direct communication. If it's no, it's no. Especially if you're in business, right? I will say it's a little, if you're in business, you're used to more direct communication. Otherwise, things don't get done, right? So that definitely is a difference. That is something that you get used to. That is something that you get accustomed to over time. It used to drive me insane because I'm a very direct communicator, but now I understand why it is. I'm still not going to tell somebody yes if the answer is no, right? But now I understand why Mexicans do it. It's just seen as rude to not be accommodating. That's really what it is. And that being said, right, like it's also, like I said, like if you make really solid friends in Mexico and you build solid networks, people will do all kinds of favors for you. They will come through for you. Like everybody, that's another thing that's different about Mexico, is because it's very community oriented. Like I'll give you an example. We just got the office in the plaza. There's a bunch of businesses here in the plaza. I guess the association, the plaza is a part of a development, right? And the association that exists for the development has basically abandoned the plaza, right? They don't do shit for the plaza. So what happened, all the business owners in the plaza get together and then they're like, hey, let's pay a gardener to do this, or does so-and-so need me to bring something from the city? I can go bring the thing from the city for them. So it's very like community oriented in that way, which I think is pretty cool. Like, it's like I said, like all your problems in Mexico get solved based on relationships. That's the main thing here. Really, it's like God is number one, relationships are number two. That's kind of the deal here. That's kind of how it works, which is very different from the United States, which is like money's number one and then relationships are number two, which a lot of people are starting to find very frustrating. They're like, it's not even like human anymore. So what I recommend to a lot of entrepreneur expats, and this applies for any country really, is learning how to take like the best of both worlds. And then that's when things start getting really cool. So for example, here in Mexico, what does it look like for us to take the best of both worlds? So like the American part of things, and then now also the Mexican part of things. Well, what it looks like, right, is let's say we have a business, as we do now. We're sitting at the office, and the best of both worlds looks like, okay, well, I'm going to build networks and be very relational, because that's how things get done in Mexico. And I'm going to have deep relationships with people, which is a really cool part of Mexico. And then I'm going to bring the good side of the American mindset, which is, the customer service and the operations that we're accustomed to in Mexico. And then you marry the two together and it's like, poosh, things just take off, right? So that's what I mean by learning how to bridge the best of both worlds. And then that's when life starts to get really cool. And one of the reasons why we like the entrepreneur expat lifestyle, why we like to live in other countries, why we like to travel, is because we both have insatiable appetites for learning new things. And we have insatiable appetites for learning new perspectives. Because I might have grown up thinking something a certain way because of the country that I grew up in. But if I go to another country, they might see it in a totally different way because of how they grew up. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting perspective. I had never thought of that before. And then learning how to take what's the best from like each culture and each country. I think that's why they say that traveling and living in other countries is the best education in the world, is because of that. It's because of that very thing. So I think that's all the questions we've gotten in our emails and in our comments lately. Our goal is to do a live stream like once a week. so we can have more, like, one of our goals for 2026 is like more live community engagement, because previously, it was just more online stuff, or we were traveling a lot, or there was a lot of like behind the scenes systems and stuff we had to build out. But all that, you're welcome, but all that stuff is done now. Like the systems are done, the infrastructure's done, the team is done, and we're traveling, but not as quick of a pace as we were like 3 years ago when we started this project. So the goal for 2026 is more community. Like that's something that's been big for Justin. So hence office space that we're working on back here behind this bar. The goal is that it's going to double, at least for now, and then we'll see what happens in a little while as things grow. But right now, the idea is that it'll double as like a filming space for us and going live and all that, but also a community space where we can have like classes and things like that. And we've got an actual tour coming out on the YouTube channel soon. Our video editor's working on it, so you guys can see like the process of like how this started and how it's going, because little by little we're getting there. And then the second thing we were thinking about is just starting to do a lot more live engagement, like this. So like live streams, this is the first one we've ever done, and it's, I think, a raving success. I think it's gone pretty well. So our goal is just, like I said, more in-person stuff and more live engagement things, because after doing online business, I think it's two things. Number one, we've been in online business for 15 years, and we were like, what would it be like to like talk to people in person again? I think that's number one. But number two, after COVID and the pandemic and all that stuff, where everybody just was holed up in their houses and everybody was doing everything online, we get the feeling that something a lot of people are craving. I know we are definitely craving that, and we know several other people who are craving that as well, since all of that is just community stuff again and in-person stuff again. So community is a really big value for us at Entrepreneur Expat, and we're finally at a place where we've already built all the behind the scenes stuff that we needed to build, so that we can support more community, right? And we can focus more on community. So hope you guys found that helpful. Looks like you did. Thank you very much. We do not have a set time for the live streams. We don't even have a set time for when we're in the office right now. Like we're still trying to figure all that stuff out. So in case you missed it, in the beginning, here are some places where you can get started, right? So if you're considering moving to Mexico, right? And I'll leave them I will leave it in a comment when I'm done here, but there's several, and you can also find it in the description. You'll find the links to all this stuff, right? So number one, right, if you're considering moving to Mexico and you're just in the research phase, download our Moving to Mexico guide below. It's free, right? We're about to do a bunch of updates to it. Number two, if you're not sure if you want Mexico or another country, or if you do want Mexico, but it's still a good one, get our Moving Abroad Ultimate Checklist. It's also free. You can grab it below. It'll help you with just like all the little tiny details involved and logistics involved in moving abroad, many of which most people don't even think about. And then they're surprised later, like, oh, shock, right? So it's to avoid a lot of shock. 2 free places to get started. Okay, for those of you who are asking about making money online specifically, because there's a portion of you that's where you're at, right? Because you need to figure out how to make money to sustain yourself in another country or qualify for a visa or so on or so forth. Make sure to check out our Entrepreneur Expat Freedom Bundle. You will get 2 classes in that and plus some bonuses. Class number 1 is Get Your First High-Paying Client Online, which walks you through the basics of online business. You will walk out with an offer that you can charge for. You'll understand the basics of marketing, and you'll understand the basics of actually getting the money, sales. Second class you will get is the YouTube Mastery Workshop. YouTube has changed our whole lives. It's the best business decision we've ever made. It's amazing. And we've had a lot of people take that workshop, and it's also changed their lives as well. So you'll get both of them in the Entrepreneur Expat Freedom Bundle. For those of you who are asking about that, and the 2 together, I promise you, you will have a really solid foundation for making money online with just those 2 things. Okay. Those of you who are in the Lake Chapala area, you live here, you're passing through, you're here for an event, you're on vacation, you're here 6 months out of the year, come visit us at our new office space. I have dropped the pin in the chat for all of you. The pin works. It has been confirmed today. So I dropped the pin in the chat, or you can go to entrepreneurexpat.com/pin. We are more than happy to meet you. We're more than happy to answer some of your questions. We had a couple people come in today that knew us from the channel and were on our email list, and we were chatting for about an hour about a potential strategy for them to get their residency, but also not get screwed in taxes and all that kind of stuff based on their particular situation. More than happy to talk to you if you're in the area. We can have tea, we can have coffee, we can chat, right? So you can come visit us, stop by in person. That also applies to those of you who are looking for either short-term housing, long-term housing, or you want to buy. We can help you with that in the office as well, because we're managing properties from Jocotepec all the way to Chapala now. So for those of you looking for housing, stop by our office. We can help you with that, or email us. And then, am I missing anything? And then for those of you who are like, hey, you're not here in the area, and you're like, what are my visa options? What's available? What's going on? Can I do it? I need help. Then sign up for a consultation with us. Apply to work with us, entrepreneurexpat.com/consult. The links to everything except the pin, I'll add that in there, are in the description for you. Just pick and choose whatever makes the most sense for you. All right, guys, thank you so much for giving me your time today. This was fun. Yay, first live stream is a success. Once we're more accommodated here in the office, and I'll have Justin come on to do live streams as well. Just FYI, you're pretty much just going to see me on the videos for the next few weeks, because he's been dealing with contractors and tech and getting the office space set up and properties and just all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to be the one on the videos at least for the next few weeks. And then once things calm down here, and we've got more help and stuff, then he's going to be coming on the videos, and I'll have him come on the live streams. Oh, and final announcement that I forgot about. If you are in Ajijic, the weekend of February 7th, you are invited to an event that is open for the public. It is the Extranjero event. You can go to our community section, the community posts, and you can find the details. I just posted it a couple days ago. All your favorite Mexico YouTubers are going to be in Ajijic for an event. And some of the parts of the event are open to the public. So if you are in the Ajijic area, you're more than welcome to stop by. The information for that is in the community post section. I put the banner there so that you guys would know. And that is the weekend of February 7th. Many of you have said, oh, we're not going to be there. Is it going to be live streamed? Not to our knowledge. We have not been told by the organizers that it is going to be live streamed. If that's the case, maybe you're here now, maybe you're here in a few weeks and you're not going to be there at the event, come say hi to us at our office, and we are happy to meet you. All right, guys, thank you for making the first Entrepreneur Expat live stream a raving success. Happy New Year, because we didn't get a chance to see you guys before then. And we're very excited to just build a way more community as time goes on, both in person and through these live streams, as we help you navigate making money online, moving to Mexico, what life is like in another country, and so much more. Thank you so much for being the best part of Entrepreneur Expat, and we'll catch you on the next one.